All right, this video is over graphing hyperbolas and writing equations of hyperbolas. Okay, so it says a hyperbola is a set of points such that the difference of the distances from any point on the hyperbola to two fixed points remains constant. These fixed points are called the foci. Okay, so this is very similar to what we did on ellipses, but this is the difference of, and that was the sum of, okay? So the difference or the distance of the first one minus the distance of the second one remains constant for all points on the hyperbola. Okay, so the types of hyperbolas here, you have a horizontal, which opens left and right, this direction. And I've already labeled everything in here. Vertical opens up and down. Okay, the center is your HK here, which is the midpoint of the foci. The asymptotes are the diagonal lines that guide the curves. So these are your asymptotes right here. Okay, the vertices are the turning points, which are plus or minus A units away from the center. Okay, so these right here are plus or minus A units away from the center. The covertices are plus or minus B units away from the center. The foci are plus or minus C units away from the center. So notice that the focus points right here are inside of what looks like the parabolas right here. And a hyperbola is just two parabolas opened opposite directions from each other. They're just like butt to butt right there. Okay, the formula to find your C, this is different. This is actually Pythagorean theorem. This is different than what we did on ellipses. This is a squared plus b squared, not a squared minus b squared. So make sure you don't get those confused with each other. Okay, other than that, the formulas and stuff to find the equations and everything are very similar. Notice that these are subtraction instead of addition. So for standard form of a horizontal, it's x minus h squared divided by a squared minus y minus k squared divided by b squared equals 1. And then for vertical, instead of the denominators flip-flopping here, your numerators are going to flip-flop. So it's going to be the y is going to come to this side and the x is going to come to this side. Okay, everything else is the same. All right, equations of asymptotes. For horizontal, it's y equals plus or minus b over a times x minus h plus k. And then for vertical, all you do is flip this where it's a over b. So graphing hyperbolas, first you want to write the equation in standard form, then graph the center hk, graph the vertices, use the first denominator a, graph the co-vertices, use the second denominator b, use the formula c squared equals a squared plus b squared to find and graph the foci, then write the equations for the asymptotes and graph them. Okay? All right, so on this first one here, okay, so first we've got to look at our center. Our center here is going to be 0, 0 because there's not a point there, or there's not any numbers there. So it's going to be 0, 0. Okay, our a squared on this one is always going to be the first denominator. So our a squared is 4, which means our a is going to be 2. Our b squared is 9, which means that our b is going to be 3. Okay, so since our x came first, this is going to be horizontal. So it's going to be in this direction right here. Okay, so our vertices, we have 2 units away right here and here. Okay, our co-vertices are going to go the other direction. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so our vertices here are going to be plus or minus 2, 0. Our co-vertices are going to be 0 plus or minus 3. To find our focus points, okay, we have c squared equals a squared, which is 4, plus b squared, which is 9. Okay, 4 plus 9 is 13. So c squared equals 13. Take the square root of both sides. Our c is going to be around 3.61. Okay, and our foci points are always going to be on the outside here of our vertices. So it's 3.61, somewhere right in here and here. Okay, so those points are going to be plus or minus 3.610. Okay, to find the asymptote, we are using this equation right here. We're talking about horizontals, we're using this equation. So it's plus or minus our B over our A. And because our center is 0, 0, you're not going to have anything here, you're not going to have anything there. So it should just say X. Okay, our B over our A. Well, our B is 3 and our A is 2. So this is going to be Y equals plus or minus 3 over 2 X. Okay, so we do want to graph those right there so we know how to graph our hyperbolas right there. So we have a positive 3 over 2x, which is going this direction. It's a positive slope. So from here we go up 3, 2, 3 over 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, and that is going to be a dotted line. Okay, and then we want to do the same thing for a negative. So just with a negative slope. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, this direction. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Just like that. Okay, so that's our asymptotes, those dotted lines right there. Okay, so then we have our vertices here, and then we want to get close to our asymptote lines, but it's our boundary line. So you just draw it like this. Same thing on the other side. Okay, see how it gets close to those asymptotes, but they are boundary lines. It keeps it from going past that. Okay, so that is your graph right there, and that's really all you need to draw. If you want to draw the little dotted box in between here from connecting the vertices, asymptotes, and covertices, you can, but you don't really have to. Okay, so that's really all you need to draw right there. Okay, all right, number 2. Our y squared comes first, which means that this is going to be vertical. So we're going to have one open up and one open down. Okay, there is not a denominator to this x squared, so that means that it is just 1. Okay, there's no numbers up here, so our center is going to be 0, 0. Our a squared always comes first. Our a squared is 36, which means that our a is 6. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our b squared is 1, so our b is 1. Right here and here. Okay, so our vertices are 0, plus or minus 6. Our co-vertices are plus or minus 1, 0. Then we have to find our foci points. So we have c squared equals 36 plus 1. 36 plus 1 is 37. Then take the square root of that, which is 6.08. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.08. So it is just on the other side of our vertices right there. Okay, which are going to be 0 plus or minus 6.08. Our asymptotes, okay, because it is vertical this time, it's going to be, instead of b over a, this time it's going to be a over b. Okay, so we have y equals plus or minus, our a is 6 and our b is 1. Well, 6 over 1 is just 6. And then our h and our k were 0 and 0, so it is still just x right there. Okay, so we have y equals 6x and y equals negative 6x. So we want to draw those dotted lines for our asymptotes. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Like that. 6, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Okay, so our, whoa, that's the wrong line. Our dotted lines are gonna look like this, right here. And then we do the same thing the other direction. And they are going to be like this. Okay. All right, so we have our asymptotes here. So then that would create our parabola or hyperbola here. Here's the top parabola right there. And then the bottom one right here. And remember that a hyperbola is just two parabolas that are back to back like this. Okay, and so that creates our graph. That's our hyperbola right there. Okay, let's go down to the next one. All right, our center here is going to be 3, 2. Okay, notice that our x comes first this time, so it's going to be horizontal. Okay, so our a squared is 25, so our a is going to be 5. Our b squared is 16, so our b is going to be 4. All right, our center is at 3, 2, so we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 right here. Our a is 5, so and it's horizontal, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our b is 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so our vertices here, we have negative 2, 2. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2. Our co-vertices, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 3, negative 2. Okay, find our foci. So we have c squared equals 25 plus 16. Well, 25 plus 16 is 41. So c squared equals 41. Take the square root. The square root of that is around 6.4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.4, something right there, 6.4. Something like that, okay? So our points are going to be 9.42 and negative 3.42. Okay, our asymptotes. It's horizontal, so it's gonna be b over a. So y equals plus or minus. B is 4, our a is 5. Okay, and then we have our x minus h, so it's x minus 3, and then plus k. Our k is 2, so plus 2. Okay, so to simplify that, we want to distribute this in here and then add our 2 in, and that's going to simplify down to where we have y equals 4/5 x minus 2/5 is one of the equations, and then the other one is y equals negative 4/5 x plus 22 over 5. So these are our two asymptotes right there. Okay, so this is what, when you plug it into the formula, but then when you simplify it down, you distribute and add 2 in, you're gonna end up getting this right here. Okay, so that's what we need to graph. So negative 2 over 5. Hold on one second. Let me bring up the calculator real quick. I probably should have already had that open, but didn't think I was going to need it. Let's see. I think that's 0.4, but I'm not entirely sure. Come on, calculator. Sorry, my computer's been a little slow. There you go. Well, okay. So we have 2/5. Yeah, that's right. It's 0.4. Okay, so this starts at negative 0.4, which is going to be around right in here. Okay, and it doesn't have to be exact. Just try to get pretty close to it. And then 4/5. So it has a positive slope of 4/5. So you go up 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it is going to be around right there is going to be one of our asymptotes, and then the other asymptote is 22/5, which is 4.4. So 1, 2, 3, 4.4. So right in there is our y-intercept, and it has a slope of negative 4/5. So it's a negative slope. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this has a slope like this. All right, so that's our asymptotes, okay? So then from there, we had our vertices was right here. So we are going to graph like this, and then out the other direction, like so. And then this one, just like that. So that's about what our hyperbola is going to look like. Okay, all right, let's look at number 4. This time our y comes first, which means that it's going to be vertical, okay? That is our k and this is our h, so don't get confused when you're writing your center. You don't want to write it backwards. Okay, so our center here is going to be negative 1, 3. So negative 1, 1, 2, 3 right here. Okay, our a squared is 36, which means that our a is going to be 6. Our b squared is 9, so our b is going to be 3. Okay, it is going to be vertical because the y comes first. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, our vertices are going to be negative 1, 9, and negative 1, negative 3. Our co-vertices are going to be negative 4, 3, and 2, 3. Our foci, we have c squared equals 36 plus 9. 36 plus 9 is 45, so c squared equals 45. Take the square root of that. C equals 6.71. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.71. Somewhere right in there, 6.71. Somewhere right in there. Okay, so those points are going to be negative 1, 9.71, and negative 1, negative 3.71. Okay, our asymptotes, because it is vertical, is going to be our a over our b. So it's y equals plus or minus 6 divided by 3 is 2. And then it's x minus h, so which is our x plus 1 right there. And then it's plus k. Our k is 3, so it's plus 3. Okay, to simplify that down, we have 2x plus 2, and then add the 3 in there, that's 2x plus 5 for the positive one, so y equals 2x plus 5. And then for the negative one, we have negative 2x and negative 2, and then negative 2 and 3 is a positive 1, so the other one would be y equals negative 2x plus 1. So that's our asymptotes that we need to graph. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 over 1. Okay, so that's one asymptote. The other one is right here. And notice that your asymptote should always cross through the center of your hyperbola. Like that. Okay, so we have our asymptotes right there. All right, so our graph, our hyperbola here is going to be like this. Okay, all right, let's look at the next note sheet of graphing. We're only going to go over a few of these. I just want to show you how to get it into standard form, and then I'll write down the rest of the stuff. And I'm probably not going to graph it because you should be able to graph it now that you know how to do it. Okay, so the next one here, I just want to show you how to get it into standard form. Okay, so this first one here, we only have one y and one x, so you don't have to put anything together, but it does have the y comes first. We need to get this 100 to where it equals a 1. So we're going to divide the entire thing by 100. And so 4 over 100 simplifies down to 1 over 25. So it's y squared over 25. And then we have minus 25 over 100 simplifies down to 1/4. So it's x squared over 4. 100 divided by 100 is 1. Okay, so this is a y squared, so it is going to be, that's first, so it's going to be vertical. So our center is 0, 0. Okay, our a squared is 25, so our a would be 5, so our vertices are going to be 0 plus or minus 5. Our b squared is 4, so our b would be 2. So our co-vertices are going to be plus or minus 2, 0. Then you'll find your foci points, and you'll go from there. Okay, everything else is exactly the same as what we did on the other one. Okay, let's look at number 6 here. So we want to get all of our x squareds together. So we have x squared plus 10x, leave a gap. We have minus 9y squared equals negative 16. Okay, so we've got to complete the square here. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 squared is 25. So we've got to add 25 on both sides here. So then what multiplies to get you 25 and adds to get you 10 is 5. So we have x plus 5 squared. And then we have minus 9y squared equals negative 16 plus 25 is 9. Okay, now we've got to get this 9 turned to a 1. So we've got to divide the entire thing by 9. So it turns into x plus 5 squared over 9 minus 9 divided by 9 cancels. So it's y squared, which means that it's over 1. 9 divided by 9 is 1. So now it's in standard form. Because the x comes first, it's going to be horizontal. Okay, our center here is going to be negative 5, 0. Okay, then you just go from there. Our a squared is 9. Our a is 3. Okay, so negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. Negative 5 minus 3 is negative 8, so on and so forth. You're just going to go from there, fill in the rest. Okay, number 7. Let's see. Let me move this down real quick. Okay, so first we already have our y's together right here, and we already have our x together. So first, let's go ahead and complete the square with this. So negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. Negative 3 squared is 9. So we've got to add 9 on both sides to start off with. So I'm going to rewrite this. Okay, so that negative 36x squared, we're just going to pull it down. What multiplies to give you 9 and adds to give you negative 6 is negative 3. So we have y minus 3 squared equals negative 45 plus 9 is negative 36. Okay, now we've got to get rid of this negative 36 to turn that into a 1. So we're going to divide the entire thing by negative 36. Okay, negative 36x squared divided by negative 36 is x squared. This is like 1 over negative 36, so that really just simplifies down to, because this needs to turn to a subtraction, so it simplifies down to y minus 3 squared over positive 36. And then negative 36 divided by negative 36 is a positive 1. So now we are in standard form, and if you want to put this over 1, you can. Okay, so then you work from there. The x squared comes first, so it's horizontal. Okay, so and that's just going to be 0, 3 is going to be your center, and then you work from there. Okay, number 8, you want to get all your x's together and then get all your y's together. Okay, to start off with, we have negative 4x squared plus 40x. And then we have plus y squared plus 12y equals 80. Okay, first thing here, we have a greatest common factor that we need to take out of this section right there. We can take a negative 4 out of that. Okay, so then that turns into x squared minus 10x. Leave a gap there. We don't need to take anything out of that, so we'll just carry that down. We'll leave a gap equals 80. Okay. Negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. Negative 5 squared is 25. So you've got to add 25 here. Now to keep it balanced on this side of the equation, since we took a negative 4 out, we've got to multiply that. So negative 4 times 25 is a negative 100. Okay. For this one, 12 divided by 2 is 6. 6 squared is 36. You've got to add 36. And I know I'm writing across this, but I'm not actually using that graph. So you may want to write that part down there or wherever you have room at. Okay. So then we've got to carry that negative 4 down. What multiplies to give you 25 and adds to give you negative 10 is negative 5. So say x minus 5 squared. Okay. Right here, what multiplies to give you 36 and adds to give you 12 is 6. So we have y plus 6 squared. Over here, you have 80, negative 100, and positive 36. Okay. You put all that together, that's going to equal 16. So now we've got to get this where it equals a 1. So we're going to divide the entire thing by 16. Okay. Negative 4 over 16 simplifies down to negative 1 over 4. Okay, so that's a negative x minus 5 squared over 4. Right here, there's not anything that simplifies that, so it's just going to be y plus 6 squared over 16. And 16 divided by 16 is 1. Okay, now this still isn't in the correct format because we need a subtraction right here. So all you have to do is flip-flop these two to where it turns to y plus 6 squared over 16 and then minus x minus 5 squared over 4 equals 1. Now it's in standard form. Okay, so now because the y comes first, this is going to be vertical. Okay, so then our center here is going to be 5, negative 6. Okay, all right, and then you would just work the same like what we did on all the other problems. Okay, now let's look at writing equations of hyperbolas. This right here sums up everything that we've already talked about. Let's look at the part where they have given you a graph and how to write the equation from a graph being given. Okay, so first thing you need to do, you need to determine is it horizontal or vertical. Well, this opens up and that opens down, so we know that this is going to be vertical. Okay, the center here is going to be the point directly in between these 2 points right there because they gave us the vertices. And so the center is at 0, 0. Okay, because this is vertical, our y is going to go first. Okay, so this is y squared. All right, our a is going to be 1. Okay, so our a squared is 1. So you can just say y squared. You don't actually have to put that over 1. You can. I'm not going to count it wrong. It's the same thing. So this is y squared, and then we have minus. We have x squared over our b, which is going to be this point right here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, which is 4 away. So our b squared, let me write a is 1 over here and b is 4. Okay, so our b squared is 16 equals 1. And that is our answer right there. Okay, this one, this is horizontal. Okay, our center is directly in between our vertices right here. So our center is going to be this point right there. So our center on this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 2. Okay, our A is 1, 2, 3. Our A is 3. Our B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Our B is 7. Okay, so because this is horizontal, our X is going to come first. So it's going to be X minus 5 squared over A squared, which our A is 3, so our A squared is 9, minus Y plus 2 squared over our B squared, 7 squared is 49, equals 1. That's our equation. Okay. This next part is when you're given vertices, covertices, and foci. So it says find the center HK, use the midpoint formula with the vertices or covertices. Then use the vertices to find A. Use the covertices to find B. If given the foci, use the formula C squared equals A squared plus B squared to find the missing part. Determine the direction of the hyperbola to write the equation. Okay, so for this first part right here, they gave us the vertices and covertices. So if the vertices are plus or minus 5, 0, if the vertices are this direction, okay, then that means that this is going to be horizontal. Okay, so to find the center here, our center, well, actually, we should automatically know our center is 0, 0 because this is plus or minus 5, 0, and that's 0 plus or minus 2. If you did 5 plus negative 5 divided by 2 is 0. 0 plus 0 divided by 2 is 0. Okay, so we should automatically know that our center is 0, 0. Our A is 5, our B is 2. Okay, so A is 5, B is 2. So our equation here, because it's horizontal, it's going to be x squared is first. A squared is always first, so 5 squared is 25. Minus, we have y squared, and 2 squared is 4. And that's our equation. Okay, the other one, the x's are the same, the y's are different, which makes this vertical here. Okay, our center, we have 4 plus 4 divided by 2 and 8 plus negative 8 divided by 2. 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 8 plus negative 8 is 0. 0 divided by 2 is 0. So our center is 4, 0. Okay, so how far is 8 from 0? It is 8 away, so our A is 8. How far is 1 from 4? It's 3 away, so our B is 3. Okay, because this is vertical, our y goes first. So we have y squared, okay? The reason it's just 0 right here, so you're not going to put anything else. Okay, and it's over our a squared, which is 64, minus x minus 4 squared over our b squared, which is 9. Okay, and that's your answer. Let's flip over to the other side. Okay, let's skip down to number 7, where they gave us the vertices and the foci points. Okay, if the vertices here are 0 plus or minus 3, let's look at that. So if our vertices are here and here, that would make it vertical. Okay, so this is going to be vertical. Okay, the number that's directly in between 3 and negative 3 is 0, so our center is going to be 0, 0. Okay, our A is going to be 3. We don't know our B, but we can find out what our C is. Our C is square root of 73. Okay, so our B, we've got to use c squared equals a squared plus b squared. Okay, well, c squared is 73. Our a squared is 9 plus b squared. So we're going to subtract 9 over. 73 minus 9 is 64. So that means our b is going to be 8. Okay, so since it's vertical, our y is going to go first. We have y squared over our a squared, which is 9, minus x squared over our b squared, which is 64, equals 1. And that's our equation. Okay, for 8, we have vertices and foci again. Our y's are the same. Okay, so that means that this is going to be horizontal. Okay, you can see that by flipping it over and looking at a graph. To find our center, we have 2 plus 6 divided by 2, and we have 5 plus 5 divided by 2. 2 plus 6 is 8, 8 divided by 2 is 4. 5 plus 5 is 10, 10 divided by 2 is 5. So our center is 4, 5. Okay, our A, how far is 2 from 4? It is 2. So our A is 2. Our C, how far is 1 from 4? It's 3. Our C is 3. Okay, so our C squared is 9. Our A squared is 4. And we're trying to find B squared. So subtract 4 over. We have 5 equals B squared. Okay, so our B is the square root of 5, which we don't really need to know what the B is. We just need the B squared. Because this is horizontal, our x squared goes first. So we have x minus 4 squared over a squared, which is 4, minus y minus 5 squared over our b squared, which is 5, equals 1. And that's our equation. Okay, let's skip down to co-vertices and foci. Okay, so if they gave us our co-vertices, and that means they gave us the B here, and they said that our y's are the same. Okay, so 5, -3. We're looking at 5, -3, and -7, -3. Okay, so 5, -3, and -7, -3 are our co-vertices. That means our vertices are this direction, which means that it's going to be vertical. I'm just going to put a V for vertical. Okay, so our center, we have 5 plus -7 divided by 2, and we have -3 plus -3 divided by 2. So our center here, 5 plus -7 is -2, -2 divided by 2 is -1, -3 plus -3 is -6, -6 divided by 2 is -3. So our center is -1, -3. Because it's vertical, our y is going to go first. Okay, our B, how far is 5 from -1? It's 6, so our B is 6. Okay, our C, how far is 7 from -3? It's 10. Our C is 10. Okay, so we need to first find out what our A squared is. So our C squared is 100. We don't know what A squared is. B squared is 36. So subtract 36 over, you get 64. So our A squared is 64, which means our A is 8, which we don't really need to know that. Okay, so we have y plus 3 squared over our A squared, which is 64, minus x plus 1 squared over our B squared, which is 36, equals 1. Okay, and that's what, you're going to end up doing the same kind of thing on this one as well. Okay, so that's how you would solve each different type of problem. So this is hyperbolas, graphing hyperbolas, and writing equations of hyperbolas.